Hi everyone, welcome back to Live in Italy Magazine's video channel. If you can see, I am not in my dining room. I'm so excited. I'm at the South Beach Wine and Food Festival in Miami, and our special guest today is Regine Rousseau, who's the brand ambassador for Pinot Grigio delle Venezie. So stay tuned because we are going to be talking about some wonderful wines, the regions of Italy where they come from, some great wine pairing ideas as the weather warms up, and then also we're going to get to know Regine a bit more about what she does. But most importantly, you need to follow us along today because we're going to a party, South Beach Wine and Food Festival, Miami style, with famous chefs, art, music, a big party, right? And of course, Pinot Grigio delle Venezie. My name is Lisa Morales, and I am the editor of Live in Italy Magazine, a travel and lifestyle publication dedicated to all things Italy. Regine.
I love that. I just feel like I've been transported back to Italy.
Oh yes, the next stop is Italy, isn't
Yes,
it? Yes,
of course.
Okay, so let's talk about you.
Okay, let's talk about me.
Yes.
Okay.
Who is Regine Rousseau?
Oh, come on. That's a tough question. Regine is a woman of the world. No, just kidding. I am the brand ambassador for Pinot Grigio delle Venezie. So what does that mean? That means that I help the consortium promote our wines. I help educate consumers on the wines and really how to incorporate our wines into their lifestyle. So that's what I do.
That's great. I love that. And let's go back to that because I see that word a lot, Consorzio and DOC and all these things. So let's talk about Consorzio. What is that? Like, what does that mean when we see that?
Yeah, so the best way for me to describe it, to simplify it, it's a body. And the goal of the Consorzio is like threefold. Number one, they wanted to create an identity for Pinot Grigio delle Venezie, okay? So really define what does a good Pinot Grigio delle Venezie looks like. Number two, they wanted to create systems to elevate the wine. So prior to the Consorzio being created in 2017, the wines were in IGT, which is the first tier in the Italian wine scale, okay? Now the wines are a DOC, so they've been elevated to the next level. So they've leveled up. So how did they do that? Well, basically quality control, implementing things like reducing the yield, right? So that you have a higher quality wine. And the third thing is their job is to promote, to share the good Pinot Grigio delle Venezie news.
That's fantastic. I love it. So quality is key.
Quality is key.
And so let's talk a little bit about the area because Pinot Grigio is a rather commonly seen wine.
Yes.
So when you see delle Venezie, it's talking about a specific area. So where are we in Italy? Because I know we have a whole bunch of travel buffs.
Yes. So close your eyes. Let's go.
Okay.
We're going to northeast region of Italy. Okay. So if we're going from west to east, the area covers Trento, then it goes to Veneto, and then Friuli, Venezia Giulia. So that's where we are in the northeast region of Italy.
Right, so very important. And I'm obviously, you know me enough already. I'm a bit of a wine geek. But I think let's talk about some of the geographical things because the geography goes into the glass.
Absolutely.
So what are some of those key geographical areas that we might be familiar with? Maybe mountains, ocean, things like that when we're talking about it's the Triveneto, right?
Yes, Triveneto, and you've got it. So we're talking about Dolomites, right, which is in Trentino. Then I'm really trying with my Italian. It's not as good as yours. So.
Oh, thank you.
So everybody forgive me. All the Italian watchers forgive me. And then in Veneto, you're thinking in the north part of Veneto, you have the Alps, right?
Right.
In the west, you have Garda, and the Lake Garda. And then in the southeast, you have the Adriatic Ocean, right? So, and then in Trentino, you also have high elevation. In Friuli Giulia, you have limestone soils, right? So why, and then you also have the influence of the Alps. So why am I telling you all this? So what that does and what that means is that the area has this climate and has the structure, the elements to produce a very specific style of Pinot Grigio.
Right.
And that style is grapefruit, balanced with high acid, right? And so our wines are simple but elegant. They have beautiful style, beautiful fruit, beautiful acidity, and they have this ability to work with a lot of different styles of food and a lot of different moods. Because sometimes it's not about the food, it's about your mood, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, and we're going to get into the wines a little bit more.
Okay.
I think that's enough about the region. So we
Okay.
kind of know where we are.
Yes.
We know. So let's talk about then. You're mentioning through the Consorzio, we're getting quality. Ah, good idea. I think I'll have a sip when you're talking. So let's talk about different styles. I believe that there are 4 different styles of these wines. So 4 different styles of Pinot Grigio delle Venezie are very important to look for the delle Venezie. What are those styles?
Okay, so we know Pinot Grigio, what we're used to seeing, what we both have in our glass is lemon, maybe lemon green straw color, really floral, lemon and lime flavors, right? Sometimes a little almond. That's what we're used to seeing. But we also have a rosé style known as Romato, okay? Then we
Interesting.
have, so Pinot Grigio, if it says Pinot Grigio, it has to be 85% Pinot Grigio grape, okay? Then we have the Bianco, which is a blend of white grapes from the area. And then we have the sparkling, which I'm always excited about sparkling wines. So we have the Frizzante, and then we have the Spumante sparkling wines.
And that was something that I wanted to ask because there's Spumante and Frizzante.
Yeah.
So tell us simply, what is the difference?
So the difference is the effervescence, right? So your Spumante will be more effervescent, more bubbly, for lack of better terms. And then the Frizzante will be lightly sparkling. So the bubbles will kind of dance in your mouth a little bit, but they're not as, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not as noticeable
Right.
as with the Spumante.
So if you want a little fizz.
If you want a little fizz.
Okay.
Yes.
But sparkling wine makes us happy.
It does.
Bottom line, right?
Yes. Wine, period.
These are happy wines. So
Yes.
Pinot Grigio, usually when you go out to eat, you see it. So like when you're in Italy or when you're in a restaurant, you know, what should we be looking at? Like we know we want a Pinot Grigio delle Venezie. What should we be looking for?
Great question. So the key marker is to look for the seal.
Right.
So
And I
the
think we have
yeah,
this here.
oh perfect. Let's show
Yeah.
everyone the seal. So this is the seal, and we love to call it the seal of wonderful experiences. But I'll tell you what you need to look for. It says DOC, and as I mentioned earlier, that is the second tier, higher quality, right? But when you see that seal, you know it's guaranteed the place of origin and the guaranteed quality. So that's what you need to look for.
Right. So there are so many wineries in Italy. So not
Yes.
every winery in this area, they have to go through an application process, right? They have to
Yes.
qualify.
Yeah, it's a really strict. So all of the wines that have the seal of wonderful experiences, go through a process of being tested by an independent panel of enologists, and they taste the wines and they say, "Yep, this is quality. This is quality Pinot Grigio delle Venezie. It can have the seal. Go for it. If it doesn't have the seal, it did not pass the test."
Excellent.
Yeah.
That is great to know. And it's good to know because like so many of us, like wine can be very unapproachable sometimes. And so we'll get into that a bit. We've talked about the different kinds of regions. So let's first talk a little bit about food pairings. Always a struggle, but wine, especially if you're in Italy, wine and food are synonymous, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
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 So like, first of all, tell us the most common. Somebody says white wine goes with.
Well, see, now I would say what type of white wine, right?
Ah,
So it depends
in
on
Italy,
the
it's
wine.
not that simple.
It's not that simple. So Pinot Grigio del Venezie, for example, let's bring it back home. You know, the wines are, in terms of flavor, I mentioned lemon, lime, pear, sometimes a little bit of almond on the finish, a little salinity. So all of a sudden you're thinking like shrimp, right?
Right.
You're thinking fresh seafoods, you're thinking salads. Those are sort of classic pairings to me, right? But you can also have a little fun with it, because when you have a wine like Pinot Grigio delle Venezie that has high acid, that has good fruit, it has the ability to work with a lot of different foods. So recently I did a TV segment where I paired it with kale chips. Why? Yes, right? So why kale chips? So you think about when you have vegetables and you squeeze a little bit of lemon on your vegetables, what happens? The vegetables taste better, they're fresher, right? You do a little sea salt on your vegetables. It's the same combination with the wines, right?
Yeah.
Adding the lemon notes, a little sea salt, all of a sudden it perked up those kale chips. So that's one of my favorite pairings at home. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna go home and
Make some
air
kale
fryer
chips.
kale chips. There you go.
I love
Okay,
it.
so I want to know, and maybe some of you want to know, is what's maybe the most unusual kind of Pinot Grigio delle Venezie pairing? Like people, the unexpected.
Okay, I don't know if this is unexpected. You tell me, because you're a foodie. But I did a romato or rosé with a hot dog. It was so good because you have that like saltiness of the hot dog, the fat from the hot dog.
And we're not just talking about a Chicago hot dog.
No. This was a beef hot dog, so
Okay.
it was pretty flavorful. I didn't do mustard because mustard sometimes kills things, but I was like, and I had a bottle, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. So that was one of the ones. But I'll tell you again, you got to think about these wines. They don't take away anything from food; they add to food, right? So even if you have not a classic pairing, it might work because the wines just simply give food a lift, right?
Right.
Gives food a little acid, gives food a little something without taking anything away.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about, you are a wine educator. You're working with the Consorzio delle Venezie. And one thing that I thought was really interesting on your website is like, it's your objective to make it approachable. And me, as I learn about wine, I find that this is like the most difficult thing. Like sometimes I'm sitting down at these tastings and I feel like a foreigner. I don't understand the language.
Yeah.
How do you, as a wine consultant educator, make it that people don't feel excluded because they don't know certain terms, or they don't know the names of their grapes, or they don't know what DOC is, things like that?
So I love that you said that, because what we have to understand as professionals is there are levels to this, right? There are people who just want to enjoy a good glass of wine.
Right.
And they want to walk into a beautiful store and they want to feel confident that they know maybe 5 or 6 different types of wine to buy, right? And so we have to speak to that because that is part of our audience as educators.
Definitely.
So for me, what I do is, look, I wasn't born into this world, right? My parents didn't have wine on the table. So when I started working in the wine business, I was a foreigner. And I always remember that feeling. And so what I do is, to the best of my abilities, I explain everything, right? So, you know, if I mention a term like acidity, I explain what that means and where you feel acid in the mouth when you're drinking wine, so that I'm speaking to the person who's a novice, or I'm speaking to the person who's a professional. Because at the end of the day, we all just want to enjoy wine together and speak that same wine language. You know what I mean?
So it's important to keep it fun.
Absolutely. And it's important to like understand and allow other people to have their own expression, right? Someone may not understand the acidity, but they may say it's mouth-watering. Same thing. You know? Same thing. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I love what Regine says, that she talks about being a foreigner, because I really feel that that's an objective of Live in Italy magazine, is like, get uncomfortable. We're all foreigners to something sometime.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't, you know, approach it and learn or feel uncomfortable or embarrassed, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So-
Create your own space in the world.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the South Beach Wine and Food Festival. You are from
Yes.
Chicago, so I guess a trip to Miami Beach is not a bad thing,
Listen,
right?
I signed up for that gig so fast.
yes. I was like, I am available. I will clear my calendar and be here.
And Regine was part of a wonderful Consorzio dinner last night.
That's great.
What did you do today here at Vigna?
Yeah, Vigna, we did a wine and cheese pairing with, of course, Pinot Grigio delle Venezie. And it was super cool because the audience, the guests really got to see how flexible the wines are and how they worked with different types of cheeses. And some of the cheeses were really like, there was a truffle cheese that was very pungent, right?
Right.
And then finding a wine to work with that. So that was a lot of fun. I love doing food and wine pairing classes.
Yeah, and I was like a good student. I asked you a question.
You asked very good questions.
Because I was watching your video about salads, and that is always a struggle for me, is what wine do you drink? And it's funny, the lady beside me says, why would you drink wine with salad? And it's just like, huh?
You drink wine with everything.
I drink wine with every course.
Yes, yes.
So let's talk about, because we're in South Florida, it's like
Yes.
summer here all the time.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
salad is like at the top of my lunch menu. Not that I'm having
Yes.
wine with it, okay?
Nothing wrong with that.
But
You
just,
can.
just pretend I was.
Okay.
Okay.
We're not judging
Pinot
here.
Grigio would go with what kind of salad dressing?
So because Pinot Grigio has good acid, right? You can pair it with like a lemon vinaigrette, which you asked about. Something with enough acid to hold up to the wine. So one of the food and wine pairing rules are power to power, right?
Right.
So because the wine has good acid, it's okay to have a vinaigrette with it. It's not going to kill or break down the wine.
Right. Yeah, I love the terms you're coming up with. They're going to stick in my head. The
Good.
power to power.
Yes.
Like that's the way I'm going to do it. Yeah. So you match what's in the wine to what your food is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that strongest note. Wow,
Yes.
I love that. That's great. I will remember that. I hope you remember that too. Okay, so this is Wine 101 today. Okay, so finally, tonight, I'm so excited.
Yes.
What are we
Food
doing?
and groove.
Where are we going?
I don't know. It's
Okay,
food and groove.
it's the beach.
It's the beach.
It's
the
South
beach.
Beach.
It's South Beach, yes. I'm so confused about where I am.
Yeah, it
Thank you
doesn't
for
matter.
Uber. So we're going to be on the beach. There's going to be wine and music and food. It's called Food and Groove. It's a white party, so
Yeah.
I have to go find something white to wear.
I killed two birds with one stone.
Yeah, you're perfect. You're perfect. You planned ahead. But I'm super excited because you know why? Pinot Grigio delle Venezie is about fun. It's
Right.
about a wine that you can open anytime and have a wonderful experience. And so being in that kind of environment where you're partying, it's just perfect for the wine.
I love it.
Yeah.
Again, fun.
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 Absolutely.
Okay, so don't forget, you're joining us tonight. We're going to take you to another party. And like I said, it's going to be a lot of wine, right?
A lot of
A
wine.
lot of Pinot Grigio
lot of
delle
wine.
Venezie. So thank you,
Thank you.
because we got to rush, don't we?
Yes, we do.
So let's go. Andiamo. Hey, as promised, I told you we'd be back at the South Beach Wine and Food Festival. We're at Food and Groove. What a great time everybody's having. There's food, art, music, lots of things, and most importantly, Pinot Grigio delle Venezie. I'm here with Valentina Fraccascia, who does the communications for the Consorzio delle Venezie Pinot Grigio DOC. That's a big name, but we'll be sure to put it in the article so you understand more about the consortium and that. So we're here talking to Valentina. Welcome, by the way.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you
joining
for having
us.
me.
She's all the way here from Italy in Miami. So you are here representing the Consorzio in Miami. Tell Miami what you, or South Florida, or the rest of the United States, what do you want them to know? Like, why should people be drinking Pinot Grigio delle Venezie? It's easy to find. I can go to the supermarket and I can find 6 different types at least.
Pinot Grigio in the Northeast Italy doesn't mean just wine. It means history, tradition, culture. So you can smell Pinot Grigio everywhere. Every producer in the Northeast Italy, almost every producer, produces Pinot Grigio. So it's quite meaningful, you know. Our Pinot Grigio delle Venezie is certified DOC. It means that it has to follow a specific regulation by the European Union. So when you see on the label or on the neck of the bottle this DOC or DOCG seal, it means that the producer have to follow a specific regulations and they have to pass through very rigid certification process.
Yes.
So that's very important for the consumer to know that when they are buying, even though Pinot Grigio delle Venezie, you can find it at a pretty low cost because it's not a high spending wine. You can be sure that you are drinking a high quality product and certified by the European Union. So be sure, just drink DOC delle Venezie Pinot Grigio, that's the best.
Yeah, and I think you can identify the seal, right? And you call it the seal of
wonderful experiences.
Seal of wonderful experiences. So we'll make sure we can show you what that seal looks like. So the next time you're at the grocery store and you're planning for that backyard barbecue or whatever you're doing, that special occasion, or did you just want to drink wine, look for that special seal. So it's very important to imagine that if you are traveling, you're covering a lot of territory. So you're like from high altitude all the way down to the Adriatic Sea. There's plains, there's hills, there's mountains, there's so many things.
Yeah.
So tell us, how does that factor into the glass?
In the Triveneto area, we have two different kinds of climates.
Right.
We are talking about Mediterranean climates coming from Lake Garda and the Adriatic Sea.
Right.
Then that creates a warmer summer.
Right.
So it is very good for the ripening of the grape. But also we have very cold winter because we have a continental climate coming from the Alps. For example, in Friuli, Venezia Giulia, and in Trentino, we have the Alps chains. In Friuli, we have the Alpi Carniche, Alps Carniche, and in Veneto and Trentino, we have the Dolomites.
Yes.
So this combination create the perfect environment for growing the Pinot Grigio because Pinot Grigio is a very sensitive grape.
Right.
It needs chill weather. It needs wind.
Right.
Because otherwise it's very sensitive to diseases for the grape.
Yeah.
So this is very important, but also it's important to have a good ripening during the summer.
Right.
So these create a perfect condition for our
perfect
grape.
conditions. And
Yeah.
also to visit, right?
Yeah,
Like you got
of course.
everything, whether you are a nature buff or whether you love the ocean, whether you love the big cities or the small areas, the lesser known, you got it all in the Triveneto area. So finally,
Yes.
tell us, how do we find, we want more information. We want to know the territory. We want to see, where do we go? Where's the website?
Instagram or the website, Consorzio Pinot Grigio delle Venezie is the website, yes.
Yeah.
And then on Instagram is just Pinot Grigio delle Venezie. And then that's where you find all the information. You can find some of my videos there and it's all, yep.
And we're going to put all those links below. And I did notice, I think it's new, but they made it easier for you. Just go to pinotgrigio.wine, type it in, you're going to find them. So just in case you can't say delle Venezie, that's like a mouthful.
I'm still practicing.
It's
So thank you
hard.
for saying that. So it's Pinot Grigio.
I think you go pinotgrigio.wine or you go for @delle Venezie and you can find all their links.
Awesome.
We are Live in Italy magazine. The website is www.liveinItalyMag.com. Easy on social media, we're everywhere at Live in Italy Mag. We will put all the links below. Thank you for following us on YouTube as well. We are growing. Please visit our website. We have wonderful stories and lots of wine stories. We can't wait to talk more about
Thank you.
Pinot Grigio delle Venezie. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Valentina.